everybody. We're back. It's our first camp out of the season, and we are so stoked. It's actually going to start today, believe it or not. We haven't actually started our camp out. This is just the crew that came to help us set up yesterday.
And a mighty fine job y'all did. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
So, you know, we know this spot here. We've been back here a few times now, and we always have some great activity here. And sure enough, some of our campers here have had some experiences this last night. So we're just going to let everybody speak up and share what they'd like to share.
I guess I can go.
You want to go first?
Well, last night I went to bed about 10:30 or 11, but I didn't feel like really going to bed, so I've got the tin tent up there, and 27,000-pound tent, and I'm laying on the bench. The bus, yes. And I'm laying there and perfectly still, and I'm going, how come I don't hear nobody saying anything? Because I'm feeling like a little mini earthquake. I mean, my bus is kind of rocking a little bit, and I'm not moving. And some of my little solar lights in there are some are rocking and some are not, which is not making any sense to me. But then I've heard some of y'all say that you guys have been vibrated or whatever. And I guess if they want to vibrate me through a 27,000-pound tent, I guess they got to use every ounce that they're doing. I don't know if I was being vibrated, but I felt like a little mini earthquake. And everything else that happened attributes to people talking down by the campfire or people getting in and out of the car. So none of that I can't say much about. But yeah, my bus was moving and I wasn't moving.
Well, cool. How'd you feel about that?
You know what? I was waiting for something else to happen. You know, I should have, like David said, I should have talked and said, hey, if you're out there, I'm willing to listen or something. But I just was sitting there going, okay, I'm moving. What's going to happen next? Then I looked out because I got the windows all the way around the bus. And I'm looking to see if I see any eye shine or like a face right there in the thing going. Nothing. Because I probably would have screamed and then they would have heard me down here.
But nobody would have came, so
Next story. But that's it.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Who'd like to go next?
Sandy, you may as well. You segued.
So I'm over in a tent out in the middle of the forest back there about 2 miles or so from everybody, obviously. So I didn't sleep hardly at all last night because there was so much stick breaking and going on behind the tent towards Mitch's. Oh my gosh, it would be like this huge amount of stick breaking, and then it would be silent, and then huge amount of stick breaking. I think that went on at least 3 times that I heard specifically. And then somewhere, I don't know the time because I didn't turn on my phone, but I would say middle of the night around 3-ish, possibly. It felt like something pounced on my lower legs, and it was heavy. It was a pounce. It was instant on my lower legs, and I was like, no, get out of here, out loud. And the heaviness went away. And then my mind logically started going, okay, what was that? The tent didn't move. I didn't hear anything approach. I didn't hear anything go away. We had worked out a deal with 3 men in this group that if they heard me, they would run over to protect me. And one was Rob, and one was Mitch, and one was Kevin, who was how many feet away from me?
20 feet.
In a hammock. No one came. So you're fired, and you're fired. Nothing personal, just business.
In my defense, I am in a steel tent. Can't hear shit.
And I was like, okay, what was that? And I was like, well, the tent didn't move, and I'm sleeping in the middle of the tent. I'm not up against the wall. So that was my experience. At one point during the night, and I don't remember it was before or after, a wave of negative. It felt negative energy just came over me, and I stopped it. I was like, no. It wasn't fear. It was just a wave of negative energy. And I just said, no. And it stopped.
Huh?
But I don't remember if it was before the pounce or after the pounce. But it was a definite pounce.
Okay.
But the activity back there was pretty incredible. And I'm glad Mitch heard all that stick breaking. It was a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, Mitchie? Here's Mitchie.
Morning, Mitch.
What?
Tired.
We're tired.
I feel like I'm in an AA meeting. Hi, I'm Mitch.
I know.
To share. So it's, I said it first, a half hour ago I came here and said I felt, and then Sandy was rocking back in her chair when I said I felt this wave of energy in my lower legs. I'm glad that I didn't hear it from Sandy first. I said it first because she's more trustworthy than I am.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently so. But it was pretty wild. So before that, there was just mega stick breaking, just activity all around my tent, mostly from behind my tent. So so I'm pretty much the furthest back besides Christina's, over on the other side by herself of the bridge. So, but here I'm pretty far back there, and right where I am is a block. Kevin and I looked at it last night. It's the pathway. I'm right on the pathway, and it's been blocked with cutwood and snaps and everything. So I don't think they want anyone going further back there. But I put my gifting site back there. It's just a lot of, it was a little unnerving.
Yeah.
It's happening all night long. Just
Wow.
the stick breaking, and I didn't know if it was elk, but it sounded bipedal.
Okay.
Bipedal. I've had Reiki work done on me. I practiced Reiki myself, level 2, and it was self-healing. And this is akin to that. The feeling was akin to having a Reiki treatment. It
Wow.
was really interesting. I just felt that it was from midsection down to my toes. My toes were tinkling, like this wave. It happened twice. It was 2 times. It seems to happen like right around when Sandy was pounced. We're guessing our times, 2:33, 2 to 3. That was really interesting. I was like, whoa,
Wow.
and that helped calm me down. I was a little bit edgy. I was singing out loud. I constantly sang, love you guys. It's so great you're around. I'm so glad you're around, and let's work together. Call me.
Let's do lunch.
Yeah, all right. So that's
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Well, I can confirm the stick break stuff.
Really?
I'm
Good.
just into the fortress
fun. The fortress.
that way. Yeah.
Well, they said the fortress.
Go to the
Yeah.
bus and hang a
That's
left.
what they call it.
Forest.
The
Anita?
Oh, I'm in the forest. Yeah, fortress. Anyway, that area there. And so me and Yvonne and
David?
yeah, we were up here till at least 3 talking. I was not tired whatsoever. And part of that was kind of cool because one time while he was talking, I saw these blue, about that big. I wouldn't call them sparkles because they were just like big blue dots. And they were just all around like his shoulders and head area while he was talking. And I was like, oh. And at first I was like, no, I can't say anything. Just not. He doesn't. And I was like, no, I'm going to tell him. It's like, you got little blue things all over you. So that was cool. And then by the time I got to my tent, it was about 3:30, and I still wasn't tired. Started. I played my flute for a little bit, and I thought, no, everybody else is sleeping besides me. I don't want to start waking people up. But as I laid there, I could hear sticks breaking, and I just kind of sat there smiling, like, oh, this is cool. Hi, guys. And at one time, it seemed like something brushed against part of the tent, but I mean, it wasn't anything like a big hand, hitting anything or anything, and it wasn't something falling from the side. I just kind of laid there, but yeah, I definitely heard the stick break stuff. Yeah.
There was a lot.
Wow. Well, last night Kevin and I went for a walk down the road out to the main road, and before we came back, we thought if we stood there in the dark long enough, that our eyes would adjust and we wouldn't need any lights to get back. Well, it was so dark last night, it didn't really work. But while we were standing out there, over his shoulder, I saw a red flash of light, and then there were a few small white flickers, and back up the road toward camp, there was a couple of times I saw like a white smear of light. It was like just a smear. It was very odd. It wasn't, you know, like a flash or an orb or anything like that. It was just a little flash smear. Yeah. And then while we were standing there, I think both of us at the same time felt what I would describe as a wave of energy. You know, I mean, I felt it like wash over me, and just as I felt it, you said something. So,
The very moment we turned around,
yeah.
the very moment we decided to go back, and we were just completing our 180 to go back, and I'd go, whoa, and you did the same thing. We did it simultaneously.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't something that lingered or anything. It was just like it just washed over you. Yeah, it was cool.
Mhm.
How did you feel? Was it positive?
It wasn't negative.
No, it was very comfortable, very
Yeah.
very known. Like I know the feel very familiar. We did hear I heard 3 those scrapes on the road because they were on hard packed gravel road, and it sounded like it scraped, and then you could hear the sound until you stopped. You know how you're trying to be quiet, and so I heard that 3 times within rock throwing range of us. But it's so black Barb couldn't tell if I was looking at her or behind her, away from her. It was that black. So
I knew where you were by your voice.
yeah. That's how dark it was.
I think we stood there for at least 10 minutes waiting for our eyes to adjust, and eventually, you know, we just kind of gave up on that because it just was so pitch black. You know, we could see up the part in the trees where the sky was over the road, and that was the only thing that we could distinguish. So
Yeah, it's dark out here.
yeah.
And I only caught one white light, and that was down the road towards camp. But the road turned, so it was not a camp light, and that was just on the periphery. I couldn't look. Anytime most of the times I see these lights, they're on the periphery, but they're bigger than a pinprick, and it's not ping pong ball size or golf ball size. It's somewhere in between.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
So Anita and I and the guests were out here. We were out here, like I said, till 3 o'clock in the morning. Guests were out here until 3 o'clock in the morning and speaking, and I was hearing activity behind me, behind the logs in the woods behind us. Our guest was sitting alongside me, and she was kind of concerned, so she got up, went to the other side, and I could still feel like foot stomps around me. I could feel the ground moving. I saw some sparkles, some of those sparkles again over here. There's a tree behind this, the one, might want to get out of the way, behind the awning here, and right next to the tree, probably about 10, 12 feet off the ground, I saw 2 white lights. I
Wow.
don't say eyes, but lights, but it just flashed. And then I saw a few other smaller ones. And we were hearing all through the night activity all around us. I ended up sleeping up here near the camp, or near the fire last night, and my tent is down below in a glen, and outside my tent there's a stump, and I put some rocks and some little couple toys and a ball, and I anchored the ball with acorns so it wouldn't move. When I went down this morning to check out, take some stuff down to the tent, the ball was on the ground near my Jeep,
Wow.
about 12 feet away. And it does look like there's an impression in the ground, possibly a footprint, I don't know. But it's right next to the stump, and it's deep. It's about this deep into the ground.
Wow.
And the only other thing that happened, I was staying up here with a friend, and she got up, and about 15 minutes after she got up, I was hearing stick breaks behind the tent, which could have been anything, could have been animals. But just right before I got out, I heard like a grunt.
Ah, a good morning grunt.
Good morning.
Didn't
Cool.
you say you heard the wood knocks about 6:10 this morning? Just around
Yeah,
6?
that's about right.
And you heard wood knocks. Well, you
Wood knocks, very, very clear, loud, semicircle around the camp, a single,
Oh, wow.
a single, and then knock, knock.
Wow.
Mhm.
Cool. Good
And
morning,
then-
Knox.
And then you heard
They're
the
waking
grunt.
up.
It was distinct.
Get
It
away.
was like right behind the tent.
Right. Okay. Well, so So because you heard the grunt
Yeah.
this morning too, there were 5 whistles this morning that I heard.
Oh wow.
It was 6:11 because then I did actually. Well, it was 6:11 when I turned on my phone.
What were the
finally.
whistles sounded like? Because I forgot to add that in my report. That I heard, like in the morning, 5 o'clock, the thrushes came up. You know, it was a concert of the thrushes. But right behind my tent, it was a clear whistles on the ground level. Totally forgot about that. I just assumed, I didn't know if it was a bird or if it was them.
Well,
But
see,
it was clear whistles.
Yeah. So my whistles were like crisper.
Crisper. Yep, that's what I
And-
heard.
Really
and
crisp.
deep
Really,
and full and broad and just because I heard
Four
two.
of them, 4 of the whistles were at the ground level, and one was at a tree right above me. And I'm just laying there, and I'm looking right at the tree, and I couldn't see anything. I mean, I'm expecting to see a bird, but I couldn't see
Yeah,
anything.
I heard the whistles from behind me going up the trail. But
Interesting.
very close, like
Very-
like
yeah.
10 feet away.
And one of them
Huh?
was a little raspy in the middle. Did you notice that?
No.
One of them was a little raspy. It started out lower and got more volume, but
Yeah.
one in the middle was a little raspy.
Wow,
and I
that's
was like,
awesome.
okay, is this a bird? I've heard these before, but is it a bird, really? And that was it. They were silent.
Yeah, there was 5 of them, and that was it.
Yeah.
Well,
So then I'm thinking, you got a morning grunt. So were they calling them in? I don't know.
cool.
I don't know.
Well, you know, the other night I got a report from a man who was up on top of the mountain behind camp here on Sunday. He had gone for a little walk down an overgrown road and had been grunted at up there and was escorted back to his vehicle. So,
Wow.
yeah, they were already here, you know. They're always here,
Yeah,
so.
Cool.
Okay, so, Sam, you had something pretty cool happen, didn't you?
Yes, I did. So, went to bed about 11 o'clock last night, and of course it was dark. And so I know I didn't have my cell phone with me, so I'm in my tent, and I know the habit. I usually have to get up every 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So I kind of woke up because I had to go take care of some business, and I opened my eyes. It was just pitch black. It's just normally at night you can see something, but I thought maybe I was blind or something until I looked out underneath and I saw a fluorescent thing. I said, "Oh, thank goodness! It's just really that black outside." So I took care of business, and it just seemed. What was so weird was I woke up and took care of that, and as soon as I laid down, all of a sudden there was some lights that started appearing around my tent. And at first it was a flash, like on the side of my tent. And it just kind of like flashed. And not like a flashlight, because normally you'd have a beam of light. But it was just kind of like, you know how you would have lightning flashes and appear and things like that. So it's kind of like that, but there was no noise. So I'm kind of watching this little bit of a light show, and it starts on the side. And at some point it moves over to the back a little bit. And then all of a sudden it's just like, I'm looking up and I'm starting to see kind of like swirling white lights, and I'm seeing this through the material of the tent, which is not, it's covered, but it's bright enough for me to see through the material. So this goes on for a little bit, and then so I and I turn to look at the back of my tent. So I'm laying there and I'm looking out through the material, and there's a dull light in the back of the tent, almost like a distant sunlight or something like that. But this is 2 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 or 2 o'clock, and I'm kind of like, it was pitch black here a few minutes ago because I couldn't see nothing. And so I'm looking through the material, and there's a dull light, and I'm doing this so I can check it, put my hands in front of my eyes, and there's enough light where I could actually see my hands. But I know there's nobody behind me, so the light is emanating from the back. That's why I checked this morning to see if anybody's back. The closest one is Anita's tent's over in the far corner like that. So this light's emanating like that. So I lay back down, and then for a second, and then all of a sudden the flicker starts up on the back of the tent. So I turn to look again, and all of a sudden it becomes a brilliant white light on the ground, like someone took a flashlight or said something bright near the ground.
like moving a light around like this. Okay, and this goes on like at least for about 5 minutes. So
Huh?
I'm watching this, and at some point during this time, I kept hearing a sound behind the tent where it felt like a little bit of banging, like that, and then I could hear a stick snap a couple of times, and I hear a little peeping, like you could tell a little chatter type things, you know. And so finally, this light moves around like this, and then it just kind of like dims out, and then everything goes black again. So all this took place like in about 25 minutes. So while I'm laying there. And of course, I finally went back to bed. I'm totally oblivious to all the other stuff, because I'm just, when I finally got to sleep, I woke up about, it was kind of light, so I'm sure it was about 5:30. But I didn't really hear anything past that point, but it was the light show that was really awesome.
Very cool.
And
Wow.
I checked with Anita when she came here, and she didn't shine. She was the only one that's closest by.
Well, we were out here till 3.
We're at 3:30, and
3:30, yeah,
I know
so-
this had been a lot earlier. And then, of course, the only other thing that's closest to me off to the side would have been Rob's bus, but he didn't have no light on or anything like that.
No, and what little solar lights I have in there would not have done
Yeah,
that.
no, not to the point where. And Anita, there's no way that she could have. She didn't shine a light or nothing. Nobody. We're all told not to shine lights in the forest. But this wasn't a light through the forest. This was like a light that was
Coming
kind of
down.
shining down. So
Mhm.
it was either an orb, a white orb that was going around my tent, or, well, what was the other conjecture? It was about maybe it had a UFO like shining a light down or something around my tent.
Probe.
But who knows? And it wasn't like I felt too much. I was very comfortable laying there watching this without fear. But it was another thing to, like, let me zip this open and go outside and see what's going on. And I wasn't quite up to doing that.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my experience for last
That's
night.
really awesome.
All right,
Really
cool.
Really
Thank you for
cool.
sharing, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I think my experience kind of started the whole evening. It sounds like at 5:38. Was it 5:38? Crash. In fact, the wood knock was so loud that I heard a splintering of the wood, you know, as it hit. And then I played my flute for probably half an hour. And then at 6:10, was it 6:10? No, it was later. 7:10. I heard this boom, 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 right? All 30, 40 yards off in a vine maple thicket where you can't, it's impenetrable, you can't hardly even walk through it, and it was coming right there. Well, just about that time, he's calling on the radio. That was about 7:10, right? Or was it maybe later, 8:10?
It was 8 o'clock.
My time sequence was all screwed up because I never even looked at my watch. The only time I looked at my watch is when I heard the first wood knock. But it was just coincidence, like, hey, what's going on over there? Like he knew. It was really bizarre. And so you guys...
Wait a minute.
No, you called. You called.
No, you called.
You
No.
keyed the mic. That's why I answered.
Yeah, because we were walking behind him,
Yeah,
and
we
I
all
seen
heard it.
I seen your
We
radio
keyed it.
light up.
Uh-huh.
No, I
So
didn't.
maybe you just.
I didn't have... The radio was on the floor.
Somebody keyed the radio.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
why I picked
that's
up.
what I thought was weird was because you're like, what's up? And I'm like, how the... Yeah, I just heard 4 steps and then you guys came over, but I didn't cue the mic. Remember where the radio was?
seconds now.
Because his radio was in his back pocket. I was walking
So the
behind
jury's
him.
still out on that one, but now it just gets weirder.
No, it's not.
And ladies and gentlemen, we should. This is a veteran of. Should we say? Seattle.
No, I don't have to go.
Just like a little girl.
No. We're saying she knows about radios in her previous
Yeah,
job.
that's true.
Her whole
I
job
used
was
to
about
lie,
radio,
yeah.
being on radios professionally. So
Yeah.
when she says
Well,
she didn't
that
key
is
the radio, I would
weird.
believe
No,
it.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Because we were actually down below and we were heading to your camp next.
Really?
We
Yeah,
were on
you
the
were
way to your
next
camp
on
when
the-
You guys
the
did-
radio went off.
You guys came to the rescue really quickly.
It's
like, wow.
Nobody else had a radio on.
No.
I know we have
No.
some.
No.
I didn't turn mine on.
I don't have.
You
I
had
don't even know
the.
what channel you guys were on.
No.
8.
And
Okay,
then it
no,
was
well,
another thing was I knew they were there. They were there. I had the overwhelming sense. I could just feel like a warmth and a buzz on the back of my head. I'm like, that's why I said, you Barb, you got to know they're here. And you're like, well, they're everywhere. You know, like, it's just a matter of fact. They're everywhere. What's the big deal? I'm like, they're right there. So, okay, so I'm like, I'm going to do the Mr. Kendig here. And I put the big earphones on and put on Soundgarden, full blast, and laid there for a while. And then after a while, I went to sleep. But I had an amazing dream. I dreamt that you were asking me why I was so scared, and you kept asking me over and over. You probably asked me 3 different times in my dream, why are you so scared? Why are you so scared? And then I just kind of flashed back to the first encounter I had in my early 20s that scared me. You know, I had nightmares for months afterwards, and because I couldn't process it. Wasn't thinking Sasquatch. I was thinking more monster, you know, and that's where I think my fears. I think I came to an epiphany last night and realized that's where all my fear is stemming from, is that first encounter, and I just have to work through it, you know, with my own process, you know. So,
Wow.
it was amazing. It was so real that I got up and I checked the radio, just make sure you weren't.
What time? Just curious.
Probably 4:30.
Okay.
4:30.
I woke up at 4:30.
And then I got up, and the Swainson thrushes were just going. There was a concert, and I walked to the end of the road, and relieved myself. But anyway, after that being said and done, I just felt this calming presence, and the birds stopped. It was dead silent, and I just kind of felt this wave of assurance, I should say.
Oh, lovely.
It was amazing.
Beautiful.
Nothing you could put, you know, you can touch or, but it was just.
It touched you.
Nothing you can see, but stuff you can touch.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Wow. Cool.
So
Well, I'm
I was
happy
just-
for you.
I was just want to say that when Sam started to talk, and she was looking at me, she saw. I was looking over at Sam, and I noticed straight back. You can see you can see the light hitting the green, the plants on their side of the road, and I saw something black move over and block out the plants.
Oh.
And that's what I was trying to see. If it was an animal, I almost stood up to see if it was like an elk or something over there, and it just moved and blocked out the plants. And so whatever it was in front of the green, and it was low to the ground. It couldn't have been more than this high off the ground.
Wow.
And there's nothing over there. So that's what I was staring at.
I knew you were seeing something. I could
Yeah,
tell by
it's
your
like,
face.
it's like I don't want to
I
take
was
my
looking at
eyes off
everybody
this because
else.
I'm actually seeing something,
Yeah.
and I want to see. And so I did
Right
have
on.
vibration last night too. About 15 minutes after I went to bed, I'm on the mattress close to the ground, and it was actually pretty strong, but it only lasted maybe like 3 or 4 minutes.
Wow.
And stopped. And
Cool.
I don't
What?
think
3
my
or 4
guest told
minutes?
anything. She
That's a
didn't
long time.
notice.
Did I help to take
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a long time, and it was
Yeah.
a strong vibration. It was
just
really
three-
strong.
Just 3 or 4 minutes. That's more than a quarter in those
Yeah,
lousy
exactly.
motels with
Exactly. Great. I mean, it doesn't frighten me. This has happened enough to me that it's not frightening anymore.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like it's like they're shaking out all the negative energy or something.
Huh.
So, and I was going to say, you had you said you felt like a dark wave, and then it felt like the pouncing. Well, in the afternoon, late in the afternoon, evening, we were going around smudging and doing and blessings, and you were doing that.
Yeah.
And if there was something dark here,
Right.
it could have been saying, "Hey, you're in my territory, lady," and you just said no. Step
And
back.
you're interesting you brought that up because the only place I didn't go down and smudge was my own tent and
Ah.
Mitch's. Mitch went down there,
Yeah, I
but
got your
my stick was so much
Yeah.
on fire, and,
Yeah, we saw
and so we put it
spontaneous
out.
combust.
But
It
that's
was
the
pretty
only
low.
place I didn't go
Yeah, I
last
got
night,
your
and
tent.
you
Ah.
covered me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and mine was
Yeah.
on fire.
Yeah.
By the time I got my tent, it was singeing my fingers.
Yeah. That's what happened to me, and I straight
that's
down.
when
We're
you walked.
doing the
Remember, you
little
walked
stop.
up, and I had to like.
Yeah.
And you did
Yeah.
get the bus, right?
Yeah.
So I have to ask you two, Debbie and you, Barb, are back down there. Did you guys see anything
No.
down there?
I didn't hear anything. There was, and I woke up maybe 3-4 times, but nothing. I heard nothing.
Yeah, I was awake really late. I went to bed a little after 1, and I was so tired I thought I'd go right to sleep, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Neither,
Took me forever to fall asleep,
Yeah, me too.
and I can't say that I heard, saw, smelled, felt anything. Does
Do
anybody
we
else
have-
got anything they want to throw in?
No?
No?
Only, and I was sitting beside David, and David was talking, and it was me, David, and Anita. But I was side by side where Sam's sitting, but I was leaning right back, and I heard clack, 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 and then I heard loads of noise, and then I heard whispering, and I said, "Can you hear that whispering?" And Anita says, "I can hear loads," and then I felt like it was right behind my head, and it was like, "Don't look round." And I got up and walked over and sat over here, facing the big pile.
She left me by myself.
And I was like, "I'm sorry." And then, you know, David kindly looked after me last night because I was a bit frightened after that.
Yeah.
Well,
You realize the
we'll
way
be
you got
okay.
these logs laid up here.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
For them to be
Yeah,
up. So
and
maybe
they
this
can
is
peek right through the gaps, and yeah, okay. Well, I think we can expect the rest of our campers to be showing up here pretty soon, and I got some high hopes. It's going to be an awesome day. It's going to be a better night, and we will be back tomorrow morning with the full group here to give you all another report. So, have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy editing, Barb.
Thank you.